Live from San Diego, this is the Fox 5 News at 10.
And these two shootings in the last 24 hours, they came a week after a shooting at the Gilroy Garlic Festival, all happening at really large public gatherings.
And so not surprising, many are questioning the safety of attending big events and what can be done if you're found in such a horrific situation. Joining us now is Ballis, an active shooter response expert. Thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate that. Is there anything you could talk about what you saw in these shootings, the response from the crowds, what they did right or what they could have done better?
I think we're still waiting on a lot more information to come out as we start to dissect and analyze the response of both the victims and the first responders. But what we see consistently in really any crisis is we go through these different phases. The first one being denial, the second one being decisions, and the last one is acting. And what we see is sometimes we get stuck in certain phases. We're not used to hearing gunshots, so we equate it to other things like firecrackers going off or a door slamming, and we get stuck in that process. And really what we're trying to buy is time in these events. And we don't have the time to get stuck in that denial and that decision-making process.
So when you say they're in denial, that means they hear shots fired and they don't really believe what they are hearing. So when you do hear, let's say, gunfire, what are you supposed to do? And I know, a lot of times we see this in a scenario of an active shooter going into a school scenario, but in these three, these are like large public gatherings. It's kind of like a new scenario. We saw it in Vegas as well. But so when someone hears gunfire, what should they do in that situation?
In order to get through that denial phase first, we have to accept what it is. We have to tell ourselves, look, if I'm in church, people don't set off firecrackers in church. If I'm in Walmart, people don't set off Walmart, but our body, our mind's trying to equate it. We have what's known as a normalcy bias, and we need to really overcome that bias quickly.
In these situations, is there anything that you notice that is somewhat of a common mistake that people can make when something like this all of a sudden hits?
Yeah, I think it's hard. There's no really right or wrong answer. It's making a decision. It's not getting stuck, not waiting to make decisions. We have to work off of the very limited information we have, and we need to quickly decide. And really what that starts with is, as I enter any space, I'm trying to recognize where are alternative exits other than where I just came in, that I can go to if anything happens. That's really one of the easiest and quickest things people can do to keep themselves safe in any situation, not just an active shooter.
So this is your life's work now, and you have a very sad, tragic, interesting story of how you found this. So tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so in 2011, my mom was at the Safeway at the Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords event. I'm from Tucson. I was actually home on recruiting duty in the Marines at the time. And really from there forward, I started to ask myself the questions we're all asking now. How can we prevent these things? How can we keep ourselves safe? My wife's an educator, so I have really focused myself on school emergency response.
What's the key message when people take your training that you want them to come away with?
That you're empowered, that everyone has the ability to affect the outcome of these situations. Overwhelmingly, potential victims are able to stop these shooters. Dayton, Ohio is a great example where someone there grabbed the rifle of that shooter and was able to disrupt that shooting. So that's really empowering people to know that they can impact the outcome.
And real quick, because we're running out of time, but is this something that moving forward we're all going to do some sort of active shooter training, or should we all? I mean, it seems like this is the new norm. Is this something we need to kind of come to grips with?
I personally don't have small ambitions. My ambitions are for national policy and options-based response training in schools. And I think it will become the new norm.
Certainly important. All right, Ballis, we appreciate your time on this Sunday night. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.